Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Cheyenne with Sugarmoon. How are you guys all doing? I hope you guys are all having a beautiful day, night, wherever you guys may be in the world, etc. And I hope you guys are staying safe out there, okay? Right now, I'm filming a little bit later than how I would normally do on a daily. Normally I like to film in the early morning hours, but this time I guess I was guided to do it more so in the evening. So it's different. I don't mind. It's kind of like what I did in the beginning of this channel in a way. So, okay. Today is going to be a little bit more of a heavier topic than what I normally speak about. Normally I kind of touch bases on the twin flame starseed journey, etc. So I kind of talk about that if you guys resonate with that and you guys are on that same journey just as much as I am. I have all that linked below in the description box, as well as my Instagram, etc. if you guys want to follow me on there. But for now, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about shadow aspects of humanity and regarding like depression as such, or anxiety, a little bit more on the mental health basis. So I will be talking a little bit about my depression and my anxiety that I dealt with, even now currently, as well as in the past. A little bit more about my mental health story as well as diagnosis. And I was on the fence about sharing this. I'm kind of a private person per se, so being vulnerable is not really my best trait, but vulnerability is a strength, so keep that in mind. So but Spirit wanted me to kind of touch bases a little bit more about the spiritual side of depression, and more about the spirituality type description, as well as the both. So I'll kind of compare the two, but keep in mind this is more so the spiritual description of such. So okay, so back then, when I was like, what is it, 2017, I got a ring in my ear, is when I was diagnosed with major depression, clinically, like actual professionally. So I was going through some counseling and therapy with first it started off as a crisis, type of thing, and then it turned into more of a therapy type of thing. So when I was going through my crisis and everything like that, I was in the hospital for an attempt, I believe, or it was more so, yeah, it was an attempt. Because mind you, I've had many attempts in the past, and bear with me as I tend to bounce around a bit, because it's not an easy thing to really talk about. Honestly, it's not easy. So it's a lot of built up feelings, but I've kind of come into terms with it and kind of peace with it. But when I do tap into the collective, as far as what I'm feeling right now, there's a lot of depression and anxiety that is being felt around the world globally, because of the circumstances that the world is in, and all the fear being spread like wildfire. Okay, so I want people to have more empathy for people who deal with mental illness. And it's a lot of the times I am seeing a big influx of people who are becoming more understanding of mental health, and back then it wasn't really like as understood, especially with the folks that I grew up with and the environment that I grew up with. And so it kind of was a growing process. All right, and I know a lot of people who deal with mood disorders, not just that, as well as anxiety, PTSD, like trauma-based disorders as well. Those, it can be very misunderstood, all right? And not a lot of people would even care or even give the time to want to listen to those types of people and listen to their story and what they had to say, because I always believe that everybody has a story to tell, and that none should be quiet and it shouldn't be silenced, right? I always say, like, Spirit says that we all have a song that we sing, like our inner tune, and not a lot of people will recognize it or more so appreciate it, but there will be those that will, and they will dance and sing to your tune as well. So it's just more so of finding those people that understand you and respect you, boundary wise, and those that are, reciprocal as well as give and take, So Spirit saying, like, when talking about mental illness or talking about depression or being open about this, make sure that you are in a safe environment, or that you feel safe with the person that you're speaking with, etc. So it's, but a lot of people who do have mental illness don't like to speak about that. They like to keep things bottled up inside. It's more so of like, it's either the spectrum of self-infliction or like self-projection, which is outwardly, projecting that feeling or emotions outwardly onto someone else or something in a different form outside of you. Or there's self-infliction, which is, that self-harm, like feeling like you have to bottle things inside, you have to carry it inside, or that you have to inflict pain within you. Okay, so it's how Spirit would describe it is like something wanting to crawl outside of you, but not in a gross way, but in a way where you desperately purge out these emotions or these feelings, because depression comes with, low bouts of energy. Sometimes it's numbness. There's periods where you go through not feeling anything whatsoever. So there's people who do feel numbness, really desperately cling on to things that possibly will feel like that feeling that they're missing on the inside, that hollowness in a way. It feels like a hole that's within your chest that is, you feel like you're desperately trying to fill the void with, but nothing kind of suffices. So that's why people kind of turn into, addictions, as well as like drugs, alcohol. Not just that, there's like many forms of self-harm. People think that when I say self-harm, it just automatically means cutting, etc. No, there's many forms of self-harm that, in fact, a lot of people do on the daily that they don't even recognize. Okay, it could be like starving yourself, or not eating, or those that deal with eating disorders, eating too much or not eating at all, that type of thing. Now, all of this, depression, it doesn't really have a look to it. It doesn't care about your race or your lifestyle. It can actually affect anybody of all ages, whether that's kids, adolescents, people who are teenagers, adults, even people in their mid ages, and as well as elders, people who are already retired. Our elders deal, in fact, I worry for them a lot of the times, because our elders are the ones that can fall very susceptible to depression and suicidality and all of that jazz. So a lot of people don't know that as well, but our older generation, we have to take into consideration that they also deal with different forms of depression, while many of, a lot of the younger generation would say the older generation doesn't really understand, or not so accepting of mental illnesses, or in a way, even though they may deal with that on the daily within themselves. But it's all about perspective, okay? Not one perspective is wrong. You kind of have to respect that, the fact that there's those that don't believe in this type of stuff, and then there's those that do. It's just more so of a perspective thing, and we all have our different viewpoints. And as ignorant as it may be on many other people's parts, it's not our job or responsibility to prove that, or to change their mind, or to kind of like, I don't know, change their viewpoint. Okay, so if you're dealing with people like that who are undermining and disrespecting your boundaries, as far as feeling like you're making shit up, or that they're not so accepting of what you're dealing with or currently dealing with, then you don't really need those people within your life, whether energetically, personally, physically, emotionally. Just my word of advice would be like, at least try to get away from that environment, or that's trying to make you feel that way, or at least create boundaries, healthy boundaries, not so much so where you're creating a large wall where nobody can overcross it, because trust me, I'm speaking from words of experience. I deal with that a lot, okay? So, and it's something that I have to learn within this lifetime as well. It's part of my karma, okay? But like I said, it doesn't care about your lifestyle, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, it doesn't matter where your background is. You know, mental illness can affect everybody, and I want people to keep that in mind, okay? So it doesn't have a certain look, all right? It doesn't mean that you walk around looking sad and moody all the time and everything like that, no. In fact, mental illness can be very hidden. A lot of the times, even the people that are the most happiest and the most joyous, typically, you know, are the ones that you probably would have to look out for the most, is what they would say. But I always say it doesn't have a look. You don't really know what someone is dealing with on the inside because you're not walking in their shoes, all right? As much as we want to be able to understand and to walk in other people's shoes and stuff like that, we can empathize or sympathize, you know, learn the difference between empathy and sympathy. But they're saying unless you walk in that person's shoes, you won't fully understand the depth of what that person is feeling on the inside. However, you can try to at least listen, at least provide that comfortable, like, safe space in order for you to share that aspect of within yourself, or to be able to let that other person you're dealing with that has a mental illness to be able to feel comfortable to share that with you, okay? Because I always say it's important not to force anybody to speak about typically what they're, as far as like dealing with, as far as mental illness wise. Yes, it's great to check in on them and to make sure that they're okay, you know, to show that you care, but not to force someone to open up about certain past traumas, etc. Like, don't feel like you have to be forced to share that, okay? It kind of goes both ways. So, but in as going back to the numbness, and sometimes you go through bouts of not feeling much and then bouts of extreme pain where you feel all the emotions. It's like a flood, like a drowning type of feeling, like you're a flood of emotions. And I feel like a lot of people are dealing with that in the collective that I'm feeling with right now. So it's quite heavy. In fact, it's kind of making me shake. So I'm kind of like having to readjust myself right now. Oh goodness. But a lot of the times the mental illness, or the state that we're in mentally, can affect our physical state. So that can manifest itself in physical pain. So dealing with people who have like physical pain within their shoulders or neck, you know, like tension, people who deal with anxiety who are always so tense and their muscles are tensed up like this all the time, it's like they can't really relax. And I have a problem with that too, because I deal with muscle tension as well. So that's why, like, I always say it's important to stay up on like salt baths or self-care, you know, that type of thing, in order to counteract that type of feeling as far as muscle aches. But besides the point, the pain that is inflicted like on the outside, whether that be through headaches or I don't know, a lot of people get nausea, people feel like they have to throw up, people actually purge through throwing up as well, which is pretty harsh. But then also people feel pain possibly within their whole body, because a lot of people also deal with chronic pain along with mental illness, and that is very rough as well, or people who deal with having a chronic illness in general. So that, yeah, we have to keep in mind that our mental state is so important, that even our emotions and our thoughts affect the way that our body feels on the outside. So that's why I say it's important to focus on within, like diving deep within, focusing on healing within, so that it can reflect on the outside. Because when you feel good within the inside, that reflects on the outside, right? As above, so below, as within, so without, that type of thing. So sleeping too much or none at all with the insomnia, like, I remember back in the day when I was really going through it, I would sleep for at least 15 hours at a time, at least. Like, that was like my norm. And that's, I don't think that's normal. However, there are those who need that amount of sleep, okay? So I'm not going to say what's normal and what's not normal, all right? But because everybody has different experiences in their life. So, but the thing is that sleeping too much or sleeping none at all with the insomnia, having nightmares, tossing and turning, just not being able to sleep at night whatsoever, that also is a form of depression or major depression as well. And that can actually affect your mood a lot, especially if your sleep pattern is off. Okay, so mood swings, which is people who deal with mood disorders like bipolar disorder, PTSD, or CPTSD, you know, that type of thing, as well as other mood disorders that are out there. There's many, many more than just what I mentioned. But, you know, having high highs and low lows, you know, that type of thing. So, but just feeling like you can't find equal footing or no balance, like there's really no equilibrium, and that, you know, I always say when we're out of balance, when we're out of alignment, it creates a lot of chaos really within life, which is why I stress a lot about balance and how balance is key, you know, within life, within a lot of things. However, like, it's not so easily achieved. It's not something that you just do overnight. It's a process that you work at, just as well as healing. You know, healing doesn't take overnight. Healing is a process, right? Because I say pain knows no time. You can feel the same amount of pain that you felt that was inflicted, and, like, for example, when you were like 6 years old, if you went through some trauma, if that was inflicted on to you, that same pain is going to feel the exact same way as if you were like 27, right? So give yourself time, okay? As well as getting to the root cause of the issues is definitely what I'm going to tie into pretty soon, but I'm going to get into that. Hold on. Sometimes people don't even, like, depression doesn't even affect people with past trauma. Like, people can live a completely, they would say, a healthy lifestyle, like nothing so traumatic that really happened to them, but they deal with a chemical imbalance within the brain. A lot of people like to say that there is, like, you know, chemical imbalance or whatever, but a lot of people like to disagree, saying that you're not really, like, chemically imbalanced. It's just, there's more that kind of dives deeper into that. But for me, like, that's something that I heard a lot within the community growing up, especially when I was in my teen years. I believe, especially between the ages of 17 to 19, the chemical imbalancing of the brain, feeling like you don't have enough dopamine or enough serotonin that goes to the brain in order to produce, you know, that happy feeling, or just to feel happy, or, you know, that type of thing. So a lot of people deal with that as well. And some people feel like they have a lost sense of reality, you know, as far as dissociation wise, especially those that deal with trauma. So the thing is that the reason why I'm listing all of this is like low motivation. They said, or over, yeah, yeah, low motivation. So it's like when you have bouts of, like, all of a sudden you're very creative and motivated, and then it's like called a depression zap, or what I would say. But it's like something that literally you're up here for a second, and then something is like a switch where all of a sudden it's like now you're no longer happy. You no longer want to do the things that you want to do. It's just bleh, you know. Especially if you have like bipolar disorder, that type of thing. It's not a fun process. Okay, and I'm not trying to laugh or anything, or like make fun of this or any of that matter if people are getting the wrong impression. It's just that for me, how I dealt with coping is that I used humor, or to be like bring more lightheartedness into something that's more of a darker subject. So I'm just trying to transmute the energy of what's going on right now that I'm feeling into more of a lighter thing. So I don't want people to misunderstand that, because this is very important stuff, and this is like dealing with people's livelihoods now, and suicidal, like this can deal, not every person who's depressed or deals with mental illness is suicidal. That's a misconception all throughout, and not everybody who's suicidal is like depressed or has mental illness. So it's just very tricky and can be very misunderstood. And I just can't stress enough that I'm very passionate when it comes to mental health and people, those who have lost their lives, who have lost their lives to depression. I don't like to say people who commit suicide, because it's not really a crime, I feel like. And I don't believe that it's selfish to those who have lost their lives, who have taken their lives due to this, due to dealing with depression, not being able to cope with it, so I, rest in peace to those souls, to those who are in so much pain. And it just really affects me, and I'm trying not to cry, because the thing is that, like, I care for those who are in so much pain and who are in like a very low vibration right now, and we all go through ups and downs. We cannot stay on high all the time. We cannot stay low all the time. But Spirit is saying that to my empaths, to my old souls, to my starseeds, those who have typically older souls, or who deal with who I'm talking about all the time as far as spirituality wise, you guys we kind of fall susceptible to mental illness or depression, or feeling like outcast, or feeling like the black sheep, or feeling, misunderstood or not understood, or not feeling like you fit in, or that you don't really fit into this world, or that your home is elsewhere, and that this isn't home, and that you're not accepted here. Like, Spirit is letting you know that that is a normal feeling, that a lot of people feel that way, okay? A lot of souls that feel this way, but I want you to understand that you are always home, no matter where you're at in this world. You literally are the embodiment of home. Your temple, your body, your space, your mind, your essence is home, no matter what. So that's why I say it's important that, those who always feel like they must travel, or like move to many different places, and feel like they're not happy no matter where they go, are typically those that feel like they don't feel happy on the inside. And that's something that they need to, that I suggest to recognize, that you're home no matter where you go in the world, and that when you feel at home, it doesn't matter where you go, okay? And so, yes, there's those who have mistreated you. I'm not condoning any mistreatment or the past traumas that were inflicted onto you. It was wrong. In fact, it was not your fault. In fact, you are not the one to blame for anything that was blamed onto you or inflicted onto you, the pain that was inflicted onto you. In fact, that is not your pain that you should hold and harbor and to keep, okay? For me, like, when I'm talking about my diagnosis in 2017, it started off as major depression and just generalized anxiety. But then later on, as I kept going through therapy and everything like that, they diagnosed me with bipolar disorder, as well as PTSD. So it was just, I went through counseling for 2 years basically, but that didn't work out for me, because for me personally, counseling, I got what I needed out of counseling at the time. But those that need counseling, don't feel shame that you go to counseling for many years, okay? I always say that it's important to have someone to be able to create a supportive environment, or a circle for you to go and talk to, okay? Whether that's someone outside of your lifestyle, like, people find it a lot comfortable in order to speak to someone who is not attached to or doesn't know their personal lifestyle. So, okay. But yes, I went through hospitalization as well in 2018, in hospice, as what they would call it. Not in hospice, sorry. I don't know why I said that, but in, what is it called? Oh my gosh. It is escaping me. When you are based into hospitalization, pretty much, when you're forced to stay there for quite some time and go through some counseling. So after usually an attempt, or when you go through the emergency services. So yeah, and right now I'm wanting to tell people that if you feel like you need to reach out, and I know you might be scared too, because you feel like, what's the point? I really want to urge people that if you feel like you need to reach out, especially around this time, there is counseling services, there is emergency services, as well as apps that you can go on or download, as well as support groups online, like Facebook, etc. Or, there's a lot of support groups out there, especially on Facebook, regarding mental health, and places that you can speak with others about your experiences, okay? If not, if you feel like you can't do that, or not right now, you don't feel comfortable with doing so or reaching out, or you kind of want to fight this fight alone, I want you to know that you're not technically ever alone, and that there's people out there who understand and who can sympathize or empathize with what you're going through right now, because I always say we're all connected, there's no form of separation, and that the pain that you feel is the same pain that I feel. But it's just more so like, I want you to be able to feel comfortable to reach out for that help, okay? Or to at least feel comfortable enough to accept the past of what happened in the past, and to let it go and to forgive. As hard as that may sound, but forgiveness and acceptance is probably one of the first major step towards healing, and to practice mindfulness and to stay present, right? And as much as I say, like, you know, we like to ruminate in our thoughts about past experiences and past trauma, so it's not so easy to pretty much quiet that loud voice, you know, because usually those loud voices, those mean, nasty things that that voice says to you is not the most nicest things. And I always say, like, would you want to say those exact same things that you say to yourself to what you would say to a child or to your loved one? I don't think you would want to say the exact same things that you are saying to yourself to those other people, to those individuals. So I say you don't deserve to ruminate and to beat yourself up in that way, in that aspect. And I can relate to that as well. Like, that's something that I deal with on the daily, and it's a process. We're not perfect. We're not here to be perfect. We're just here to be. We're here to have lessons. We're here to experience certain lessons, whether that be harsh or whether that be not so harsh, you know, good or bad. It's just more so, what are you learning from it? What are you taking from it? And how are you going to move from that, you know? Are you, it's more so getting, we all go, there's stages. There's like that in denial stage, you know. there's many different stages to this, but don't feel pressured, and don't feel like you're the only one that is dealing with this and that you're alone out here, okay? And that there are people out there that understand, you know. And I'm a person that typically, a lot of people feel intimidated to come up and talk to you about, but normally I'm very accepting. I'm very open to those who are dealing with many different experiences in life, and I don't judge. And I feel like it's important not to judge our experiences and not to compare our experiences to one another, because each of our experiences is important to us, okay? And not one experience is worse than the other or better than the other, okay? It's not about comparison. It's just more so being open to being understanding and learning from one another, okay? So I'm going to end this off right here. As far as like this goes, I kind of will do a little part 2 and jump in and do a quick reading if you're interested, for a tarot reading, and give advice, kind of like I want Spirit to give advice to us as a collective and how we can move forward and deal with some of the feelings that we're dealing with, as far as the emotions, as far as the depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder. There's also schizophrenia, those that deal with, why is this escaping me? My goodness. Borderline personality disorder is what they're saying. Thank you so much. Goodness gracious. But borderline personality disorder, yes. People who deal with that, that's really widely misunderstood as well, people who are diagnosed with that. So anywho, if you're interested in that, I'm going to jump in and get some advice from Spirit and what we can do. If not, I wish you the best on your way, and to really reach out to those services or to a loved one or those that you can trust, okay, in order to release that. Because when you talk about it, when you release and talk about it, and you use your throat chakra to release that feeling and the emotions out, the way that you can transmute and get that energy out of you, because mind you, the more we keep it on the inside, the more that there is no way that we can put it somewhere else, okay? So, or transmute it to other creative endeavors such as art or dancing or music, you know, singing, you know, that type of thing. the emphasis of transmutation of that energy, that negative energy, that negative, like not negative, that dark, heavy vibes that you're feeling from that, I would say depression and anxiety and mental health and all that is an entity to me. I view it as something that's an entity. It's actually its own form, and it's not a not so pretty, okay, thing, but it's an entity that comes in, and it's kind of like an energetic vampire is what we would call it, but in spiritual terms. But in science terms, yes, it's just mental illness. But I always say you're not broken, okay? You're never broken. You're always complete and you're whole, okay? And you're always healed. So it's the illusion of that. All this heavy energy is just pure illusion. It's illusion. The illusion of feeling that way. And that's a hard pill to swallow at first, especially when you're in that mode. That's the last thing you want to hear, but it is the truth. The fear, the thing that you think that you're fighting, as far as like heaviness wise, the entity, as far as mental illness wise, is an illusion. Okay, so much love to you. I'll be right back. Hey guys, if you guys are coming back from the part 1, if not, then you guys skipped over to the reading, but this is very important to watch the first part of this series, because this is like pretty much my new mental health series I'm starting up as far as like regarding spiritual depression, etc. This is more so on those that deal with depression or different forms of depression like major depression, etc., or those that deal with anxiety or any mental illness, but mainly depression is what I'm basing off of right now. I will talk about many other mental illnesses, but this is just kind of the first thing that I want to tie into as well, because depression sadly tends to be the most common thing that a lot of people are diagnosed with in world globally, so it's misunderstood, and I kind of want to touch bases and want Spirit to kind of give advice about what we can do to help move forward or to help heal with the healing process as far as depression wise, okay, or things that we can do to help up our self-care, that type of thing. So I don't think I'm going to be using the tarot. I think I'm going to skip out on the tarot and I'm going to go straight into the Lenormand. How about that? Okay. And then I'll pull some charms as well. Okay. Now, when dealing with depression, I want you guys to be extremely gentle with yourself, okay? And nurture yourself and be kind to yourself. I know it's hard to, especially when you feel like you don't deserve that type of love. You don't feel like you deserve that type of treatment as far as nourishment goes. Especially if you were shown not so much healthy lifestyle, pretty much. Your environment, the way that you grew up. Oops, sorry. Not even that, but... Okay, Spirit, advice for this collective as far as people who are dealing with depression. Advice for them who are dealing with depression at this current point in time. Or any other form of mental illness. Oops. Oh, goodness gracious, guys. This is... Okay. This is the card, like, I love you card. This is when I always make mention within previous videos who are my starseeds and twin flame journey. This will resonate as well. But you are loved, okay? Pink tulips, anything pink, the color pink is a representation of love, okay, is what we like to say. And I've been saying seeing pink tulips is all about unconditional love, and also Spirit's way of telling you that you're not alone, that you're appreciated. In fact, that there are gifts there's gifts coming your way. In fact, life is a gift. And as much as that may be hurtful in a way, because back then when I was at my lowest point, thinking that life was a gift was more like a joke to me. In fact, when people would say that to me, I wouldn't believe them whatsoever. But it really, if you can change your perspective and see from a loving standpoint, choosing love rather than fear, that is when you're able to see that love is all around you. It's all around you. In fact, you are love, okay? You embody the essence of love, okay? And also it means right now I'm seeing that the 9, like for me, I was seeing the 9 of Wands, kind of like in the tarot, where like feeling like you have a lot of walls, like a lot of guards up, that type of thing. And also the 9 of Swords, which is that anxiety type of feeling, like staying up at night, the insomnia, the going, like your thoughts running and repeating over and over and over again, whatever that ego likes to tell you, that you're worthless and all that other stuff, that you're not worthy of love, that you don't deserve this, yada yada yada. That voice is not true, and that voice that is beating you up and is saying the most meanest things is telling you a cronk of shit, and it's bullshit, and it's a bunch of lies. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. The little inner voice, the quiet voice that whispers, that says, oh no, that little 1%, I always say, especially those who are bittersweet about love, saying, well, I don't believe in love, like love is not for me, that type of thing, like I give up on love, that type of thing. But then like a little piece inside of them, like 1% of inside of them still believes in that little inclination of love still exists out there for them. And I want you to really believe in that 1%, if not, if it's more. And I want you to keep working towards that 1% until it becomes at absolutely 100, okay? Because we are going to have days where we're going to feel low, and we're not going to feel so loving, okay? Realistically, we're human, we have bad days, there's days where we have good days as well. But Spirit wants you to acknowledge that that is what makes life beautiful. That's what makes life precious, is that we have the up and downs, that life is never linear, that it's not a linear process. It really isn't, okay? There's lots of curves, there's many different waves, there's many different paths to go down, and not one of them is, I would say, wrong. There's just many different experiences that we choose to go down in life, all right? And what we learn from them, what we take from them, is a gift within itself. And it's what makes you grow into the person that you are, all right? You are worthy of love. In fact, love is waiting for you when you're ready to be open to receive it, okay? Because people with depression, people who deal with depression, feel like we don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. You feel like it's not meant for you. And I want you to realize that Spirit is telling you right now it is. That's really beautiful. More advice from Spirit regarding people dealing with depression. Oh my goodness, guys, we have another form of flowers, which is the lilies card. And you know what, my younger sister, her birthday was yesterday, so shout out to her and happy birthday to her, and may she have a prosperous year. And I did make a post about it on Instagram as well, so I love her. Okay, mind you, she told me that lilies, she just woke me up about something. She's so talented and smart. But she said lilies is the flower of reconciliation, and I did not know that. Mind you, lilies for me is the flower symbol of death, which is rebirth, which is going through that, you feeling that death energy, feeling that heaviness, feeling like you can't go on, feeling like you have no energy, feeling like you can't even get up mainly, or not even have the energy to even take care of yourself. But mind you, this is a process. This is part, especially if you're going through an awakening, a spiritual awakening. A lot of people who are going through like my starseeds and my twin flames, who are going through the dark night of the soul process, this is exactly what they were referring to. That once you go through that rebirth stage, that painful stage, that purification stage, like the phoenix rising, or through like a butterfly's, then you're able to pop out and bloom as the beautiful flower that you're meant to be, okay? But right now, they said this, my sister said, the flower of reconciliation, which is reconciling with yourself, reconciling with the inner emotions that you feel on the inside, recognizing that they're real, and when you acknowledge your emotions, when you don't numb it out, and you actually feel the emotions rather than ignoring it or numbing it, or to push it away, that is when you are able to actually fully heal, okay? So crying is not a form of weakness. Purging and letting go of things is not a form of weakness, okay? I just want to keep that in mind, especially for my masculines who feel like they're afraid to be vulnerable, or afraid to show their emotions, or afraid to cry, or afraid to be able to be in that feminine energy. I want my masculines to realize that embracing that divine feminine energy within you as well is going to help heal, as well as my divine feminines who are also dealing with pain as well. So, okay, Um, why I say that is because we're getting this moon card, which is the divine feminine energy, all right? And this is all about, you know, phases, like the phases in life that we go through. We're always going through many different phases. Things do not always stay just the same, okay? Just like you change just like the phases of the moon, all right? Especially my divine feminines out there. Or the divine feminine energy within all of us, okay? Because I see this. Mind you, if you watch my previous videos, I mentioned of divine feminine ascended masters are now making their appearance to come in to provide healing and to provide you a light to guide you through the darkness that you may be going through. Because mind you, the moon is what lights around the dark. Okay, mind you, we need both the dark and the light in order to create balance within life. Why, like I always say, we need dark because how else are we going to see the moon? How else are we going to enjoy the stars that we see at night, right? The dark has its purpose, okay? And the dark right here, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. This is the star card, okay, guys? So, emphasis that you guys are going through that dark period right now. However, Spirit right now is saying that you are the light. You are, especially if you are light workers right now, people who are tuning into or who resonate with that right now. I'm feeling that recognition of the power within, okay, that you are not what others said that you were in the past, okay? That those were lies. Those were people who were projecting their insecurities and their inner things and demons that they need to heal within themselves onto you, and that does not make it true, okay? So the things that were said, the hidden shadow aspects that were said to you are just an illusion, is what I'm saying. And the moon is all about illusions. That fear-based energy, the darkness, the depression, and all that is just an illusion. The real truth of the matter is that there's only just love. There's just light, you know, and as well as dark, right? I always say dark and light is the same thing, just different sides of the same coin, okay? So you are the star. Don't be afraid to shine your light. Don't dim your light to fit in. Okay, you're meant to stand out, especially if you're a star seed and you're someone who's different, who doesn't seem to fit in, who feels like you don't have a place in this world. You're meant to stand out. You're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to feel like you are being hidden, you know, being the hidden sheep within the crowd. No, you're meant to shine like the star and the moon and the sun, you know? So own it, okay? And if people don't like that, if people feel threatened or feel like they have to say negative things or project that onto you, it just means that you are threatening a certain aspect within them that they need to heal. Okay, so when people react to you negatively about your beliefs or just you just being you, you know, you just being yourself, don't take that so personally, okay? That's more of a problem of their problem, not your problem. It's more of a personal thing within them that they need to work on. And so when people feel like their ego is threatened, they feel the need to project that outwardly in a wrongful manner, in either an aggressive or a passive aggressive or a victim mentality like manner in order to, you know, express themselves, but that's literally all they've known. That's how they've coped, okay? So just how Spirit would say, it's really extremely hard, and I have to learn this as well, but to forgive them for they do not know, okay? And to let it go and try not to take it so personally, all right? But also being open to the fact that you are responsible for your own actions and there are consequences to your actions as well. I want to keep in mind to those who deal with mental illnesses that we are not the victim, okay? You were the victim at the current circumstance when it happened, especially if you dealt with trauma. However, currently we have to release the feeling that we are the victim, that we're the persecutor, that we're the rescuer, that it's time to assert your power, to claim back your power in a way, and to recognize that you're stronger than you give yourself credit for, okay? And the past traumas and the mental illness does not define you. It's just a part of your experience, it's a part of your life, but it doesn't define you, and you are not your depression, you're not your mental illness, is what Spirit is saying. Okay? Because I say we have to be careful because we can get a little bit too comfortable in that comfort stage of feeling like the depression defines us or that it runs us or that it owns us, that type of thing. But recognizing that, you know, it's only a part of you. Realize that depression and anxiety is an entity outside of you. okay? But it's also a reflection about what you're feeling on the inside, what needs to be healed on the inside. Because the law of attraction, we have to be mindful that what we put out there is what we get back, okay? And when you realize that the negative thoughts that you were thinking and putting out there is affecting your daily life that you're dealing with now, you probably won't even want to think of a negative thought. I'm pretty sure that there's a quote out there that said that. Okay, advice like from the animal totem, spirit animals. Advice from spirit animals, things that we can embody in order to help heal, animal spirits that can give us advice regarding depression and dealing with anxiety. How to claim back our personal power. Oh wow, this came out in the previous reading that I just posted regarding the twin flames and the starseed. So this is an emphasis of bring your ideas to life. Electric eel spirit number 24, which reduces to a 6. And now 6s represent my unconditional love card, and also 6 is a representation of love, as well as my masculine cards as well, okay? This is, I'm seeing the blue, which is this throat chakra thing going on right here. So being able to speak your truth, being able to not being afraid to open up that throat chakra and to be able to share your beliefs, your ideas, your creative endeavors, whatever it is that makes you happy, that is valid. And you know, everybody, I believe, has a personal gift within them. No one is not talentless. I believe everybody has a personal talent within them. And if you feel like you don't have that talent, or that you don't have that within you, it's because you have not found it yet. Another thing is that we don't also find our purpose. We have to realize that we create it. We are our own manifestors, we're our own magician, that type of thing. So spirit is saying, if you have ideas or creative projects or things that make you happy or bring you joy or passion, dive into that, whether that be art, whether that be music, whether that be poetry, whether that be writing a book, whether that be reading again, getting back into reading, going back to school, or whatever it may be that you find is going to make you extremely happy or bring you joy. Not what other people want out of you, not what other people expect out of you. What is it that makes you happy, that brings you joy? That's something that's going to benefit you, not other people. All right, it's more so taking into consideration, finding balance on finding time and care for yourself as well as others. So any ideas that you may be thinking about or overthinking about, it's time for you to bring that to life, or to at least dabble into that, okay? Oh my gosh, at the bottom of the deck there's a koala spirit, and I did mention this with my previous video about seeing koalas. Okay, that's so beautiful. Spirit has a plan, so you may not see it now. It's because the thing is that Spirit can see tomorrow far greater than we can see today, and that's the saying, is that they can see further into tomorrow than we can see now, okay? And the thing is that since we're not seeing what's in front of us, it creates fear and worry and overthinking and doubt, especially when it's something that you desperately want but it's not coming into fruition just yet. But just know that, I always say, things that take longer typically have a bigger plan, okay? So Spirit is saying that if whatever you're feeling like, if your healing process feels like it's taking longer than you would like it to, just realize that all of this there's no coincidences in life, okay? The experiences that you're given in life, all right, as much as that's hard to process or accept, there's a reason for it, okay? There's a reason and a lesson behind it. It's just all about and how you're going to... Oh, wow. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Hawk Spirit. So let Spirit be your guide. So yes, choosing love, choosing the higher perspective, you know, and letting go and surrendering to the fact that you're not in charge, all right? You're not in control of what's going to happen within life. We can't be. Spirit is. And the fact is that we can't always predict the future. And if we try to, okay, or if we overthink too much or stay too much in the future, it's going to create that anxiety. So trust in Spirit, all right? The Horse Spirit, oh my gosh, freedom is yours. Number 33, this is the Ascended Masters I was referring to, as far as like Divine Feminine Ascended Masters and Divine Masculine Ascended Masters, which are higher dimensional beings who are coming in, who are helping us on the journey in our awakening process. So Remember, you're not trapped. You are free. The feeling of being trapped, the feeling of feeling like you're not understood, or that you're trapped within your own soul, within your own mind and body, just know that you're technically always free. And especially with the whole world, what we're going through right now, as far as like that feeling of quarantine, it's all about slowing down and going within and taking that step back, but also realizing that you're always free within, okay? The the beetle spirit. So magic works through you. Number 52. So this is kind of that Egyptian thing. So if you tie into ancient Kemet or ancient, Egypt, this is my Starseed card as well. But this is also saying that you are the magician. You are the person that can manifest and create the life that you want within your life. You have the full power and the capacity and the tools provided and needed for you to move forward in life, as much as you feel like you don't. Especially if you feel like you don't have the resources, that you feel like others might have. But just realize, like I always say, we are on our own lane. It's important to work on your own path and not compare your experiences or to others. Focus on you. All right. And the koi fish, there is always enough. Remember what I said? You have the materials and the resources in order to create the life that you want. As well as when I said that there's a gift coming through. This is that koi fish, that fish lucky energy, 777, abundance, wealth, prosperity coming in. So there's a greater purpose in life. You may not see it now, but I see that Spirit is working behind the scenes within your life right now in order to bring forth this wealth, prosperity, and abundance, whether that be through you finding emotional fulfillment, you finding emotional balance, you finding peace within you, okay? Because the thing is that material items is not what's going to make you really happy in the long run. Happiness is finding it within, okay? It's more so something that doesn't require material things, okay? So your healing process, right? It's more of an inside job rather than an outside job, okay? And it does start with you realizing and recognizing that you are free, that you are the magician, you are the wizard, you are the witch, whatever you may want to be called, and release and let go and realize that Spirit has a plan for you in the end, and that you are carefully watched over and loved, and that release fear and embrace the loving energy that Spirit is trying to provide for you. And when I always say, when the student, like people always say this, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? Now, when you're going through those moments, the darkest moments, especially depression and the dark night of the soul, it's kind of like you being removed from source, you feeling like you're being abandoned from your spirit guides, you feeling like you're being abandoned from God, and it's kind of like you go through that process of feeling angry, feeling like, God is punishing you, or feeling like you're being punished. It's not a punishment. Spirit wants to remind you that the dark experiences that we give you is actually a gift. It is actually a gift in disguise, a blessing in disguise. I always say that within this channel, that the darkness that Spirit gives us is a blessing in disguise in order to transmute into something else, into a more positive experience, to transmute into something, whether that be creativity or, oh my gosh, this is my Starseed card. Look at that. Referring to you guys, like, be in the present moment. It's important to stay present. Why? Because Spirit said that's when you receive the most presents, right? When you stay present, you receive the most presents, okay? When you stay in the past, you just receive a bunch of headaches and depression. When you stay in the future, you just have a bunch of anxiety and overthinking and all that jazz. So, okay. Advice from Spirit. Advice. Advice from Spirit for my Starseeds. Anybody who's watching this that may need help, or who's dealing with depression. I'm sorry, guys. That was actually my fault. Oh, beautiful. Okay, what came out is number 50, which is consider your foundation. Look at how committed you are to love. So this is kind of like similar to the last reading with the house coming out, which is your temple. Your foundation is very important right now. A lot of people are feeling like their root chakra, which is your the base of your spine, basically, which is the red representation of your stability, your foundation, your house. So the fact is that a lot of the times our perspectives and our beliefs and our belief systems were built on faulty foundations. So you thinking that you are not worthy of love, or you being presented or being told that you're not worthy of healing or being happy or living a prosperous life, was a very faulty foundation that is going to crumble and fall in order to be built a new one. That's the whole point with the star seeds. And you know, coming into just especially indigo children, if you resonate with that, those that who are destroying old foundations to build new ones, it's to get rid of that old belief system. Okay, so believing that you don't deserve happiness, believing that that life that you want is not for you, and that is a false belief. Okay, so question your belief systems. Pretty much the environment you grew up in, like the things that people told you, doesn't mean that they're correct. Spirit, I just want one, please. Just one. Well, I guess they don't want to give me one. They just want to give me 3, and that's okay. Alright, I'll take them. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the lotus flower, and I did emphasis about have patience. Love is patient and kind always. Yes, it is. I'm also seeing this fish thing, and you know, the lotus is all about growing from the mud underneath, going through that dark process, going underneath the mud where you can't see it, it's not visible. So but until it starts blooming above the surface, right? So right now, a lot of people who are going through that dark night of the soul, or that purging process right now, that depression, anxiety process, is all about it's part of the awakening. Okay, as harsh as that sounds, you know, spiritual awakening is all about, not all about roses and dandelions and stuff like that. It is about that, okay? However, like I said, the dark aspects of life is needed just as much as the light aspects, okay? So what came out was slow down, pause, and allow things to unfold. Yes, so when oh God, emphasis on the fish, especially if you're twin flames, this is very for you guys. You guys cannot control the journey. Okay, spirit is in control, but realize that that passion, that soulful passion that you always will always be there. You guys are always meeting on the 5D, you know, at the Rainbow Bridge. I see that, etc. You guys are dancing through life, especially for my Divine Masculines, Divine Family. You guys are always in union, okay? So just know that everything has its divine timing, you know? Things may not work out in the way that we expect it to be. Things may not work in the way like how fast we want them to be. But this quarantine and this whole process that we're going through right now, like I said earlier, is all about slowing down and going within. It's about, especially pay attention to your dreams, the dream state, and the visions that you're getting, etc., and the way that Spirit's trying to communicate with you, okay? Emphasis on the 9 card. I'm seeing 9-9, you know, karmic cycles being completed, right? Recognition of karmic cycles. You are limitless. You can do anything you choose. This ties hand in hand with the horse spirit. You are free. You're free. You're not trapped, okay? Being a trap is just the illusionment of it all. So that's actually a little secret there. The quarantine and all that would be feeling trapped is just an illusion. You are limitless. You are free. The freedom is yours. You're not trapped. Also, number 4 is a representation of the 444 angelic beings that are on your side as well. And I'm seeing that people are going through a Kundalini chakra activation awakening, so that could be quite harsh as well. The symptoms that go through that, the purge symptoms, the ascension symptoms, can be quite heavy. So that could also tie into a lot of the mental health state that a lot of people are going through right now. Love who you are. You are divine, delightful, and deserving of the wonderful things life has to offer. Oh my gosh, I love that we're ending off with the oracle card like this. Number 8, you are an infinite being living a temporary human experience. Okay, the experiences, the love, everything, that's what you take back with you. Okay, not the material things is what I always say. But you are divine. And you are deserving of love. Like I said earlier, It's just another repeat or an emphasis of that, you know, you are this flower that's blooming, that's coming from the mud. You're going through that transformation process, that harsh process of being in the dark, you know, not being seen. Okay, but just know that there will come a time in divine timing where you're going to shine your light and you're going to be that bright star that you are meant to be, okay? Go ahead. Okay, the first thing that popped out to me was this shell, which is answering to the call of your purpose in life, whether that be creating and being also open and listening to what Spirit has to tell you. Oh my gosh, this is my diamond. So you're a diamond in the rough type of thing. Like, this is people who are, you are going through this heavy energy right now. It's kind of like that pressure type thing. This goes with this river rock stone that I always say, that going through immense amount of pressure is what creates this diamond. Okay, and you guys are going through that darkness stage, that dark stage of being under amounts of pressure in order to become the beautiful diamond that you're meant to be, okay? Also, butterflies, which represent Spirit being with you, as well as you are wings. You have wings. You're limitless. You can fly, as well as touch the sky. But they're saying that new beginnings is on the horizon, okay? Just keep that in mind. As well as I'm seeing the rose came out, the white rose. And you know, the white rose represents my divine feminine energy. So the white rose, sisterhood of the rose, the divine feminine energy is coming out to let you know, and to let you know that they're here and that they're helping to heal, okay? This came out, which is my little Paris card, okay? So like France. But this is also my travel card as well. So just know that if you guys feel like you want to travel or go somewhere, just know that you're not trapped and that you're willing to do so, okay? As well as if you're dealing with long distance relationship or anything like that, whether that be like a love. This is also my love. Like, oh, I'm saying that there's possibly a new love coming your way, or just love in your life, your essence. You're finding love within yourself, okay? And mind you, healing takes time. This is my broken watch card. Time is an illusion, all right? So don't put a time period on how you have to heal. Like, don't let anybody rush you into thinking that your healing process has to be healed, okay? What one person can heal in 1 year versus someone can heal in 10 years, that doesn't mean or undermine that one is better than the other, okay? This is also my heart card. This is also a pet or an animal. This is my dog Sasha's tag, her old tag. So possibly if you guys lost a pet or connected with a passed on loved ones or passed on pets, they're coming in here, especially ancestors, those that you've lost within this lifetime as well, especially loved ones. They're coming in here to let you know that you're extremely loved. Oh my goodness. And you also have the bear charm, which is my love charm as well. Bears represent unconditional love for me. And the fact that you have, oh my goodness, you guys are surrounded by love. And I actually want to, I kind of want to cry for you guys, but your ancestors and your spirit guides want to let you know that you are just so tremendously loved and you guys are watched over. Oh my goodness. And that with time, that if you allow for them to step in and to take control and to show you the beautiful wonders that life has to offer you, my goodness, if you just hang on and just keep believing and having hope and having faith in the divine and knowing that they have your back, that things will be all right, that things will be okay. Just know that you are in good hands and that you're watched over, and the loved ones that you lost, they are literally watching over you and letting you know that I'm here. Hi, I love you. Hi, I miss you. I'm sorry that you're feeling this way. Please don't feel this way. You are loved. Please recognize and know. Please listen. Be open to listen. We're trying to communicate with you and tell you that you are cared for. That this is a temporary experience. This is just a lesson that you're going to take with you, and you're going to grow stronger from this. You're going to grow into that resilient diamond, okay, that you're meant to be, all right? So don't be afraid to bloom. Don't be afraid to fly and spread your wings and shine, okay? You are meant to. All right, much love to you guys. I shall see you guys in my next video. I hope this helps. Much love. Peace.